We're at the solution stage of Earth X, talking with Anna Ambrosi, the head of sustainability and the director of communications at Avocados from Mexico. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you.
We're going to talk
Thank you
about
for having me.
Thank you, and we're going to talk about avocados. Something all of us eat. I hope. I hope regularly, maybe even every day. Very common product, but of course there's a world of things we don't know about avocados. So tell me what your mission is as head of sustainability for Avocados from Mexico.
So Avocados from Mexico is a marketing organization in the US that it was founded and is funded by two organizations. One is the Association of Growers and Packers of Avocados from Mexico, in Mexico, APAM, and the other one is the Mexican Has Avocado Importers Association here in the United States. And avocados were banned from the US for a very long time until 1994 when NAFTA was signed, and then we were able to import avocados from Mexico into the United States. But I mean, and after that, there's been a whole development of like the integrated supply chain. But what I do is basically I represent the Mexican avocado industry that is, integrated by these two organizations. And what we do at Avocados from Mexico is drive demand, drive consumption of avocados here in the US, as well as build a brand for Mexican avocados. The Mexican avocado industry has more than 36,000 growers. So it's really small farmers who export avocados into the US, 90 packing houses, and 200 importers in the US. So this is really kind of like a great story of how small farmers that have less than 5 acres bring their product into the US, and that's their livelihood.
So you're saying that all those farmers that you represent are small area farmers?
Yes.
Not small landowners?
90% of our farmers are small family farms that have been growing avocados for generations, and it's their livelihood. There are 2 states that are certified or allowed to export into the United States. One is Jalisco and the other one is Michoacán. And Michoacán also has a beautiful story because of the volcanic soil and the different elevations and a lot of rain. It's the only place in the world where avocados bloom 4 times a year. So 365 days per year. And that's the only place that can really meet the growing US demand for avocados.
Mm-hmm. So avocados use quite a bit of water.
Yes.
So that is probably, if you are working on sustainability, a concern. Or but then you need the water. So what can you do about that?
That's a really good question. Yes, avocados use a lot of water. Avocados are made of water and oil. But we are really in a privileged land. More than 60% of our orchards rely solely on rainfall. 36% of the additional orchards have 2 systems that are really irrigation systems that are really sustainable. One is micro sprinkling, and the other one is drip irrigation. So really, we don't, and the soil is very moist because there are 80 volcanoes surrounding the avocado producing region in Michoacán and Jalisco. So really, there's not a lot of irrigation that we need additionally from what we get from the rain. So yes, we consume a lot of water, but
it's there.
It's there.
So another area where you focus on is deforestation. Now, I can imagine that, yes, if you want to have a farm, any farm, also an avocado farm, you can't have too many trees there. So you cut the trees. So if people expand, then they want to produce more, they're going to cut more trees.
Yes.
So, but what do you do then? Do you not do that, or you stop that, or how can you mitigate that?
Well, it's an interesting story as well because, as I mentioned before, we have 36,000 growers. So there's 54,000 orchards in Michoacán at the moment, and so they're really small farms. Now, more than 80% of our orchards have never been deforested. We're actually about to issue a land use study that we've done for the past 30 years. And it's a region that it's like agricultural by nature, but it's also surrounded by forest. So it's a really connected ecosystem. Now, in those cases where there has been kind of like a change in the land use and there's been some deforestation happen, we're actually addressing it. In fact, on Friday we signed an agreement, a national agreement with the federal government of Mexico to make sure that all the avocado exports are deforestation free. So in that agreement, there's like compensation mechanisms and regularization mechanisms so that we kind of like address all those, orchards that are not in compliance, and there's a way for them to come back to exporting to the U.S.
What do you see as your biggest challenge? If again, from the focus of sustainability, what do you need to improve on?
Well, we actually launched the Path to Sustainability last April, in April 2025. And as you can imagine, these are like family farms that are really connected to the land, and they depend on their avocado orchards for their livelihood. And they had a lot of like environmental friendly and responsible agricultural practices. But what we did was put together in one strategy with like a North Star vision, what we wanted for the industry. And we launched this as a path to sustainability, and we were really focusing on 4 areas that represent not only kind of like an opportunity, but we knew that there were some risks that we needed to manage. So one is water. And as I mentioned, we have like a very strong water program. A lot of our orchards rely solely on rainfall. The other one is biodiversity, because of how the land in the avocado producing region is very rich. We want to make sure that we conserve and preserve the ecological connectivity between those areas. The third one is climate change or climate resilience. We want to make sure that we manage our carbon emissions. And avocados grow in trees. So we do have some carbon capture that we do. We just want to make sure that all those programs are connected towards our goal of net zero by 2035. And the last one was forest conservation. So we want to be an industry that is deforestation free by 2035, and we're advancing towards those goals as well.
How do you bring the avocados from Mexico to the U.S.?
Mostly by truck through Texas.
And so these trucks today use oil.
Yes.
And is there a plan for them to be electric trucks, or what
Well, that's the other thing. Mexico is the largest producer of avocado in the world.
Yes.
And we're next to the largest market for avocados in the world. And we're next door neighbors. So avocados come from farm to table in 2 to 5 days. So there's no other supply chain that is more sustainable than us coming, from Mexico to the U.S.
In terms of
no logistics, waste. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, of course, you can always kind of like try to compensate for anything related to
But let's back up on this one. You said 2 to 5 days.
2 to 5 days.
From the moment the farmer picks it from the tree?
Yes.
Till I see it on my plate?
Yes.
2 days? That's pretty impressive.
Yes. Well. So that's also the beauty of it, the whole integration of the supply chain that is really efficient. Now, to address kind of like what you were saying, distribution, marketing, it's not only what happens in the orchard, it's also what's happening kind of like throughout the supply chain. So we really kind of like, with the path to sustainability, with this strategy for the Mexican avocado industry, we're really kind of like the roadmap for implementation of those 4 goals and big commitments is through 5 programs: governance and culture, the culture shift, sustainable orchards, sustainable packing houses, marketing and distribution, and biodiversity, forest, and watersheds. So,
do you work on regeneration of the soil? Because ultimately that's important too, I suppose. Right?
Yes, absolutely. We're trying to kind of like make sure that all the family farms that have worked at this, industry for generations are aware of, where our impacts, our dependencies on nature, and how we're going to address them.
So if you want to impress your friends at whatever nice social event you're, what is what story do you tell them? What is the biggest success story?
Well, I think the biggest success story in terms of what we're doing in the industry is this is a growing industry where, we double the volume of Mexican avocado imports to the US in less than 7 years. We are not only kind of driving consumption of avocados in the US, which is great in terms of health and wellness benefits for the US consumer, but we're also expanding the market. Mexico is the only place in the world that can meet US demand. And this industry is not only great for the US consumer, but also generates more than 120,000 jobs in North America. It's a 13.5 billion economy in terms of economic output on both sides of the border. And it's really a win-win story between Mexico and the US. So that's incredible. And we're doing this sustainable so that we can keep growing. So even better.
So, of course, you mentioned it is also a big employer, not just in the US, but I guess in Mexico too, of course,
yes.
Family farms. Is there a problem that the new generation says, well, this is all great, mom and dad, but I'm not going to grow avocados?
Maybe.
You
I
see
think
that
it's
happening.
Very profitable, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. So I think it has changed the quality of life in Michoacán and Jalisco for sure.
So compare that for me. If in, say, coffee or bananas, is avocado much better for farmers?
Well, avocado, I mean, it is in the sense that it's like what I'm saying, they're integrated in this very dynamic and very successful supply chain. And so as the market has expanded, they're, able to sell more of their avocados. And as I said, Mexico is the #1 producer of avocados in the world, the #1 exporter, and we're right next to the #1 market for avocados. So that's always an advantage. Now, the Mexican avocado market is also big. And so whatever they don't sell to the US, they can sell in the national market.
Are you happy with promoting avocados in the world?
Yes. It's an iconic product of Mexico, so I'm happy to be an ambassador of Mexico that way.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.